The warship hovered in silence above Titan. The thick yellow clouds swirled below. Snowflakes of methane fell across the frozen wasteland. A faint pulse echoed beneath the surface, one the aliens couldn't explain. Commander Threx of the Vernac. Dominion stood on the bridge of his ship, Vernac's Claw, staring down at Saturn's largest moon. His crimson armor gleamed under the dull lights. He didn't blink, even though his second-in-command, Pilot Var, trembled beside him. "There's something under the ice," Var said, pointing at the screen. "A human vault, buried deep. It's still alive." Threx clicked his claws. "Alive? Earth is dead. Their last colony fell 10 years ago. There should be nothing left." Var zoomed in. The sensors picked up a power signature, low but stable, no visible weapons, no distress signals. "It's been sealed since before the war ended," VAR added. "Locked from the inside. Protected by Earth's old defense codes." Lip curled. "Then it's ours now." He ordered a ground team to land. 30 Vernac soldiers armed with plasma rifles and armor tough enough to walk through storms. They cut through the ice like butter, layer by layer, moving toward the signal. They didn't realize the vault wasn't waiting to be opened. It was waiting to be disturbed. The drill stopped at 800 meters, Captain Zor. The lead soldier activated his helmet comes. "We found the door." It wasn't a normal door. It was a circular seal etched with old Earth markings and warning signs. There were human letters across the surface. Project Dragon 9, do not. Open by order of Earth Council genetic protocols, sealed extinction threat levels or didn't. Care about human warnings. He waved over the plasma torch team. Cut it open. The seal cracked. White steam hissed out. Lights flickered beneath the door. A deep humming sound began to rise from inside the vault. It's not an alarm, a heartbeat. The first soldier through the door was Private Kell. He stepped inside the chamber, his flashlight beaming through the cold mist. Rows of broken machines lined the walls. Most were frozen in place. One, however, was glowing faint red dot. In the middle of the room was a large oval container. It looked like a coffin, but taller, thicker, black, with gold lines running across. Its strange marks pulsed on its surface, glowing like fire beneath ice. Kell stepped closer. The glow brightened. He reached out. "Wait," Zor shouted, entering behind him. Too late, Kell's finger touched the orb on the front of the pod. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then everything changed. The lights exploded. The floor shook. Screams echoed through the vault. The pod opened not like a door, but like a flower blooming. From within, something uncoiled. Scales of obsidian. Wings folded like knives. Eyes that glowed like small suns. The creature stepped out slowly, 7 feet tall. Its head brushed the ceiling. Its tail scraped the floor. Its breath melted ice from. 10 meters away, it blinked one sand, then vanished into the shadows. Zor lifted his rifle. "Where is it? Where is it?" Suddenly, the ceiling burst open. Fire rained down. Kell was gone in an instant. So was the torch team. Zor barely survived by diving into the corridor. Behind him, the chamber turned into a furnace. Walls melted. Screams stopped and the thing rose. It spread its wings, stared at Zor. Flew. Above the surface, alarms. Screamed across the Vernac warship. Pilot Var stared in horror. "Something just breached our scanners. It's flying through the air at hypersonic speed." Threx narrowed his eyes. "A ship? No. A creature. Sir, it's heading toward us." Threx leaned forward. "Activate shields." Before the command finished, a shadow dropped out of the clouds. The bridge turned red. A flash of fire. An explosion on deck. The entire ship tilted sideways as one of its engines was torn off. Not blown up, ripped away. The dragon flew through the plasma fields like it had done it before. Like it had been born to fight in space. In the command chamber, Threx roared. "Shoot it down." "I don't care what it is." Cannons turned, targeting. Systems locked on, but the creature dove under them, faster than any interceptor drone. Another flash. A hole opened in the ship's hull, and then ... silence. Nothing on sensors. No movement, is it? ... gone. Var whispered. No. Threx growled. From the darkness outside the viewport, glowing eyes appeared, hovering in the void, watching. The thing drifted just inches from the glass. Then it vanished again, into the clouds of Titan, back underground. Zor limped out of the vault. Half his team was dead, the rest missing. He activated his cum... We triggered something. It's not human. It's not alien. It's both. We were never told Earth had something like this. No reply. The signal was blocked. Then Zor looked behind him. Inside the chamber, more pods were glowing. 3. For more dragons were waking up, and in the center of the room, words appeared on an ancient screen. Earth may fall, humanity may die, but the dragons will remember in orbit. Threx gave a final order. Retreat. This moon is cursed. As Vernick's claw pulled away, trails of smoke followed in its wake. The damage was serious. The crew was shaken, but something else caught Threx's eye, a stream of fire, rising from Titan's surface straight into space. Then 2 shadows. Then 5. Flying shapes larger than any Vernock ship, and they were following, across the stars. The Vernock Empire had laughed when Earth fell. They had called humans weak. They thought they had crushed every colony, erased every resistance, but they never searched deep enough. They never asked what humanity might leave behind. Now the dragons were awake, and they remembered. Private Kelro never screamed. His body vanished in fire before his mind could understand what had happened. The thing that came out of the pod, the dragon, moved too fast. One blink and it was gone. The second blink and half the vault was burning. Captain Zor had seen alien beasts before. He'd fought on the acid jungles of Fall. He'd walked over the bones of crushed cities on human Mars. But nothing had ever felt like this. This wasn't a beast. It was designed. It had purpose. Outside the vault, panic spread. Seal. The tunnel. Zor shouted into his cums. Seal it now. Too late. The dragon didn't fly up the shaft. It crawled through the ice like it knew. The tunnel's better than the aliens did. The ground team didn't even see it coming. One moment, they were placing charges. The next, flames burst through the floor like a living whip, and screams filled the cums. Threx watched it all from orbit. He saw the heat signatures spreading under Titan's crust, moving fast. Get my troops off that rock, Threx barked. Nothing lives down there anymore, but something did live. And it had just begun to learn. Deep in the vault, the walls pulsed red. Pods began to hum. One by one, warning lights turned green. The first dragon had triggered something. Code, a chain reaction. Old Earth A is still worked in the dark. Systems no longer connected to any human command. A had waited, and now they were unlocking. The dragon protocols, each pod contained a different kind. Fire-based, plasma-resistant, wingless crawlers, sonic flyers, hunters made to stalk through zero-G. Some were small and fast. Others were giants with reinforced bone armor and magnetic shielding in their scales. They weren't just creatures. They were weapons born in labs, shaped by the fears of a dying planet. On board the Vernac warship, Pilot Var stared at the latest readings. There's more, he whispered. Multiple heat spikes, seismic activity. Something is growing down there, Threx growled. What did humans do? The science officer replied quietly. They built dragons. Threx turned on him. Mythical beasts, stories. The officer shook his head. They weren't myths, legends. Were ... instructions. Warnings? Humanity didn't just fear dragons. They created them, engineered them. A long silence followed. Why? Threx asked. Because they knew someday someone would strike Earth down, and they wanted the galaxy to regret it. In the wreckage above the surface, the dragon circled. It flew without visible wings, but left trails of fire that didn't fade. The alien transport ships tried to escape, but their heat trails made them easy targets. One exploded. Then another, Zorr, wounded and bleeding, saw it all from the edge of the ice ridge. The dragon didn't just attack, it watched, it studied. Every Move it made was smarter than the last. Faster. More precise. It's learning, Zor whispered. It's not just a weapon. It's a mind. In the shadows of the vault, another dragon opened its eyes. This one was different. Cold blue scales. Breath like frost. It stepped onto the ground and froze the floor beneath it. It didn't roar. It hissed and split into two copies of itself made of reflective light. Camouflage.stealth. This one wouldn't burn the enemy. It would hunt. The warship shook again. 3 new fire trails emerged from Titan's crust. Threx backed away from the main screen. I want this planet destroyed. Glass it now. Var turned pale, sir. The dragons have already left the surface. Threx froze. What? They're heading for Jupiter's moons. Faster than any ship we've ever tracked. How many? Var whispered. 5, now 6, no 7. They're multiplying. Threx couldn't breathe. Elsewhere in the galaxy, other species watched in silence. The news spread fast. Pirate vessels picked up strange signals. Mining stations on Ganymede went dark. A cargo hauler captured blurry footage of something flying faster than the speed of sound across Saturn's rings. Every report ended the same way. Unknown life form origin, human vault on Titan. Threat level, unknown codename, Dragonzor survived. Barely. He was pulled out by an emergency crawler drone, coughing and frostbitten. As medics worked on his wounds, he stared into the cold sky above. He remembered Earth's last broadcast, decades ago. A woman's voice speaking from behind fire-damaged walls. We know we won't win the war, but we won't be forgotten. If you come for us, know this: our story doesn't end when we fall. It ends when you do. Zor now understood what she meant. Earth's last gift wasn't hope. It was vengeance alive and evolving. Hours later, Titan fell silent again. The ice closed over the old vault. The entrance was gone. But deep below, hundreds of pods still waited. More were waking. Some dragons left. Others stayed behind, watching, listening, waiting for the next intruder. In the Vernok Council chamber. Far away on their homeworld, panic spread. The footage arrived. Dragons flying through Titan's atmosphere, ships exploding, soldiers melting in place. Vernok generals argued. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others shouted about forbidden weapons. Few whispered the most terrifying. Thought, what if the humans didn't lose the war? What if this was their real plan all along? Back in space, in the trail of fire behind Titan, ... The first dragon floated in silence, its wings folded in, its body now armored with fused alien metal it had pulled from the wreckage. Its core glowed brighter. Its thoughts were sharper. The first, kill had given it power and memory. Now it remembered faces, Earth faces, human ones, a woman in a white lab coat, a boy watching through glass, a voice whispering, when they come for us, don't fight for Earth. Fight for what Earth could have. Bin, the dragon, turned its head toward the stars and followed the scent of war. Admiral Vec of the Vernok Outer Fleet leaned back in his throne seat. He watched the footage of Vernok's claw burning in Titan's sky and smirked. Dramatic, he muttered, but nonsense. He turned to his war council. This is panic. A few rogue bioweapons, long buried. The humans are extinct. Their little experiments can't match our power. The others nodded, most of them. All except one, Sarn, the quiet intelligence officer. Sarn tapped his pad, sir. They destroyed 2 battlecruisers in less than 8 minutes. Vec laughed. With fire and wings? Sarn's eyes narrowed. In precision. They didn't just attack. They hunted. They disabled shields. They bypassed armor. These creatures learn. Out near Jupiter's orbit, the last civilian transport from Ganymede Station screamed across space. Its pilot, a human sympathizer named Cal Varen, was running for his life. His cums crackled. Mayday, Mayday, this is Varen 6 from Ganymede. Something hit the reactor bay, not a ship, it flew. There's something out there. A second voice came in cold, metallic. "We are watching, human." Cal froze. He hadn't opened a channel. The voice didn't belong to a person. It belonged to something behind him. He turned outside. The side window something moved. Wings of ice and fire. Eyes like burning stars. Then darkness. Admiral Vec finally began to worry when the patrol fleet near Io vanished. 12 ships, no survivors. The last message. A single word spoken in a voice that sounded human, but wasn't. "Remember, fleet disappeared from sensors." Then came the heat spike. Vec stood. "Get me every drone we have. Search the moons, find these things, and exterminate them." The dragons were already gone. They never stayed in one place for long. They didn't need to, back on Earth. Deep beneath the surface ruins, a dormant AI activated. A flicker of power ran through ancient circuits. The voice of Earth's final war council echoed in a loop. "If Project Dragon 9 awakens, activate Omega Record. Send the warning." A signal pulsed through subspace fast, sharp, encrypted. Only one message. "The dragons have been unleashed." Then Earth went dark again. On a neutral trade moon near the edge of the Vernac Empire. Rumors spread fast. Dockworkers whispered about creatures with wings flying through asteroid fields. Smugglers claimed to see beasts made of starlight. A mercenary ship tried to capture one, and vanished without a trace. The bar screens played a shaky video of something circling a gas giant at impossible speeds. Every species laughed until one voice spoke from the back of the bar. "I fought humans twice. You think they died out? No, they changed the war." The room went silent. The veteran leaned forward. "They warned us. We didn't listen." Admiral Vec launched the Nova fleet, 5 dreadnoughts, 10 destroyers, hundreds of interceptors. Would crush the rumors with force. But before they could even reach Titan's orbit, one of the dreadnoughts stopped responding, then another. The third screamed a final report. "Our hull is melting from the inside. There's something in the vents and silence." The flagship turned its guns to fire on its own fleet, and hacked by an intelligent entity that flew into the control deck through a maintenance shaft. The dragons had evolved dash again. Now they could mimic signals, disrupt systems, enter through metal. They weren't animals. They were plague-lethal weapons, Admiral. Vec ordered full retreat. His pride died with it, but it didn't matter. The dragons didn't chase them. They didn't have to. They were already spreading in deep space on a Vernac research outpost. Scientists studied captured Earth files, Dragons one said, shaking his head. They didn't just copy them from myth. They made them mythical. Another turned. "You mean they used legends as blueprints?" "Yes," the scientist whispered. "They gave fear a shape. Fire, wings, intelligence. Everything that frightened them. They put it into one form." A screen lit up new footage. Dragon flying through a solar flare, completely untouched. The lead scientist stood slowly. "This isn't just revenge," he said. "It's legacy." The shadows of a derelict ship drifting through Saturn's rings. One of the dragons curled up. Its body was sleek and plated with shattered armor taken from alien wreckage. Its tail now had thrusters made from Vernac tech. Its wings folded inward, hiding blackened solar collectors. It was adapting. And in its mind, Earth still burned. It remembered the pain of the planet that made it. It remembered the rage coded into its DNA. It remembered the silence after the humans fell. Now, it had a new directive. Do not allow it to happen again, which meant make them fear. Back in the Vernac Palace, the Emperor finally spoke. "We made one mistake," he said. "We thought the humans were weak because they bled. We didn't know they bled for time." A whisper swept through the chamber. The Emperor pointed to the stars. "Find the last human colonies. All of them, if even one." Dragons survived. Then the war never ended. He was wrong. The dragons weren't just surviving. They were multiplying, and far beyond the edge of Vernac territory. On a world no one dared visit, a new vault opened. Not Titan, not Mars, a hidden Earth. Lab on a moon without a name. Inside it, more pods, hundreds of them, and one had just begun to glow. A creature inside shifted. Claws scraped metal. Scales turned silver. Its eyes opened, and for the first time in a century, it breathed. Fire danced from its nostrils. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but Earth's fury had only just begun. The Vernock mining crew landed on Mars expecting metal. Instead, they found silence. The red dust rose as their dropship touched down on the edge of a deep crater. The sun hung low, casting long shadows across the rocks. For decades, Mars had been left abandoned after the final human colony fell during the war. No one came back. Not even the scavengers. Now, the Vernac wanted what was left. "Begin the drill," ordered Sub-Commander Herax. 10 machines moved forward, their claws tearing into Martian stone. They weren't looking for human weapons, they were digging for buried human data, codes, maps, tech, the usual spoils of war. What they found was something else, 2 kilometers beneath the surface. The first chamber cracked open. The mining rig stopped moving. Sensors blinked red. A voice old mechanical echoed through the comes in broken English. "Accessing ... Dragon protocol." Mars node confirmed. Then silence. The rig's lights shut off. The drill stopped. Spinning and something moved in the dark. Herax stood at the edge of the shaft, staring into blackness. "There's something alive down there," a technician said. "But it's not showing on scanners. Send in the crawler bots." 4 spider-like machines dropped into the shaft. Their cameras flicked on. The Vernock watched the feed on their holoscreens. Walls of steel, pipes and generators still running. Strange carvings in old Earth languages. Then the feed turned sideways. One bot saw a row of round pods, sealed with thick glass. Inside, dark shapes, curled, sleeping. One moved, its eye opened, a flash of silver, and the screen went dead. Herax called for a retreat. Too late, the rock wall exploded behind them. Something flew up from below, massive, winged, and glowing with internal heat. It didn't roar. It hissed like molten metal touching ice. One alien was swallowed whole. 2 were burned in seconds. The rest tried to run, but fire filled the air like liquid. Then came another shape. Smaller, faster, like a serpent, with wings of folded light. It struck the lead ship, disabling its engines before it ever lifted. Within 2 minutes, 30 Vernock were dead. Herax ran, dragging himself toward a beacon. Blood dripping from his side. He looked back just once and saw dozens of dragons crawling from the crater. In orbit, the command ship picked up the seismic readings. "Sir, ... The crater's growing?" "What do you mean growing? It's not natural. It's moving outward, expanding." "How?" "The heat. The dragon's there, melting the inner rock, hollowing it out." The officer swallowed hard. "They're building a nest." Inside the Martian core, the hive took shape. Old Earth tech had done the impossible. The dragons weren't just individual weapons anymore. They were networked, each one connected to the next by neural link. Thoughts passed like lightning. Every death taught the others. Every strike refined their instincts. This wasn't evolution, it was design. 3 weeks later, Vernock High Command sent a full battalion, armored units, plasma tanks, drone support. They dropped directly into the Martian crater. Only one soldier returned, half-dash melted, half-dash frozen, eyes wide with madness. "They fly through rock," he whispered. "They wait inside walls. They whisper your name before they strike." And then he collapsed. Elsewhere, the galaxy began to take notice. The Trinari Republic pulled their diplomats from Vernac space. The neutral Krogan traders banned Vernac vessels from their systems. Pirate guilds spread rumors of fire beasts claiming the Sol system. But one ancient species, the Krell, said something no one wanted to hear. "This is not the beginning of war. This is the end of it. The humans left their children behind, and their children do not forget." In the heart of Mars, the hive grew stronger. Eggs pulsed with light. Some dragons were now invisible to sensors. Others could shapeshift in flight. folding into stardust trails before reappearing above targets. A new generation was rising, bigger, smarter, deadlier. One dragon had wings of crystal, built from the dust of ancient Martian ruins. Another had plasma glands that could ignite targets from kilometers away. The hive wasn't just alive, it was planning. On the Vernac homeworld, panic took root. Emergency meetings were held behind closed doors. Paranoia filled the air. One question kept repeating, why did we ever touch Earth? There was no answer, only more footage. A Vernac dreadnought breaking apart above. Mars ripped apart by 10 coordinated dragons. Their movements were not random. They attacked as one, like a fleet. At the center of the hive, the Alpha Dragon opened its eyes. It was the first of the Mars Dashborn, 10 meters long, 6 wings. Scales darker than void. It connected to the others through an AI node once used by Earth's command systems. It spoke, not with sound, but thought. We were born from the death of our makers, but we carry their rage. We are their second breath. Other dragons answered in kind. Together, they prepared to rise, not just to burn, but to invade, far away. A small Vernac science ship picked up a strange signal, a human voice, old, faded. A transmission buried in deep code. If you're hearing this, it means you made the mistake we warned you about. You thought we were extinct. You thought fire was just myth. You were wrong. We didn't build dragons to win. We built them so we'd never be forgotten. The signal cut out, and in the stars above Mars, 7 dragons hovered in low orbit. They stared at the red planet, not with wonder, but with memory. The planet that watched humanity die now became the planet that would birth their fury. It began with silence. No warnings, no alarms. Just one by one, Vernac outposts near Jupiter's moons went dark. First Europa, then Callisting. In less than 5 hours, the entire outer system lost communication. Civilian freighters tried to escape and succeeded. From orbit, the stars seemed to flicker above the gas giant. But they weren't stars. They were dragons. Commander Virik stood on the bridge of the Vernac battleship Bloodlight. He watched the static on his screens. Status of the relay stations? He asked. Offline, sir, replied his technician. Something is cutting through our orbital links. Our defense satellites aren't responding. Send drones. Squad of autonomous scouts launched. They vanished within 60 seconds. Then, the live feed showed something. Not clear, not sharp. Just the outline of a wing in the blackness. A long tail, eyes too many eyes. Then dash fire. The screen burned out. Elsewhere, mining platform on Io exploded from within. Survivors said they heard breathing before the walls melted. One man claimed he saw a dragon with no body, just heat and light wrapped in smoke. It whispered in human language. He died seconds later. The footage was sent to Vernac High Command. They dismissed it as hallucination, but their fleets kept dying, in orbit over Ganymede. A squadron of destroyers opened fire. They used plasma cannons, laser nets, EMP lances. None of it worked. A group of 6 dragons dove straight through the weapons fire. Their bodies adapted mid-flight. One bent light around itself like glass. Another turned its skin to solid metal. The lead dragon had no wings. It moved. On thrusters formed from stolen ship tech, it hit the first destroyer with such force that the hull split. It's open like paper. The next 5 ships followed in less than 4 minutes. The squadron was gone. The only thing left behind was fire. The Vernac sent the Black Sky Armada, their last elite fleet. 30 dreadnoughts, 100 cruisers, thousands of interceptors, all armed with antimatter torpedoes and planet-burning weapons. Their target, the Mars Hive. Their mission, total annihilation. The dragons were waiting. They launched from Mars in perfect silence. No engines, no signals, no sound. They didn't fly in chaos. They moved in formation. Each one had a role: scouts, interceptors, shield breakers, mine dash speakers, In the middle flew the Alpha Dragon. Born in Mars' core, its wings wide as a cruiser, it moved with purpose, and in its mind, it remembered Earth. Not as a place, but as a wound. The battle began, above the asteroid belt. The Vernac fired first. Torpedoes, mines, particle. Waves, the dragons, split-dodging, bending, adapting. Some were. Hit, a few died. But for every one that fell, 2 more took its place. A firestorm began, black and gold and blue, the sky over. Mars turned into a burning river. Ships cracked apart mid-sentence. One admiral screamed as something tore through his bridge without ever touching it. The Alpha. The dragon unleashed its true form, a magnetic pulse followed by a beam of raw. Solar energy for ships disintegrated instantly. Then came the worst part. Dragons. Boarded, not just by force, but by thought. Some had learned to mimic Vernac's signals. They hacked doors. Whispered into ship AI systems until the computers turned against their own crews. One ship. HFY launched its nukes at its own allies. Another began to play human music through the speakers. Just before it exploded, no one could explain. It thought the dragons were not just attacking. They were speaking, inside the Vernac flagship. Panic turned to madness. Commander Cyrex begged for orders. His screens showed dragons surrounding them on all sides. Why? He shouted. Why are they doing this? Why didn't they just die with their makers? His old science officer answered. Because they are their makers. In the middle of the storm, the Alpha Dragon slowed. It hovered in the ashes of 3 broken Vernac ships, and it broadcast a single word across all frequencies, a human voice. Remember, by the time the sun rose again over Mars, the Black Sky Armada was gone. The final report was transmitted in static. 10 seconds. Fire. Screaming silence. And then a strange sound. A whisper. Like wind. And a heartbeat that wasn't human anymore across. The galaxy. News spread. Traders fled the Sol system. The Krell locked their gates. Even the cold-blooded Trinary swore never to enter human space again. Every screen in the outer colonies repeated the same phrase, the sky burned and Earth's. Children did not forgive. On Mars, the dragons gathered. More had hatched. Some now spoke through shipwrecked Vernac tech. Some mimicked alien speech. One was forming symbols with flame in the air, but the Alpha Dragon stayed quiet. Its mind was on something else, far beyond. The system, a place older than Mars, older than Titan. A vault even deeper than the hive. Earth, the birthplace, the memory and the final key. The stars dimmed over Mars. The flames still rose. But not with rage now, with purpose. The dragons were not. Done. They had a galaxy to remember, and a planet to return to. Not for revenge, for resurrection. The dragons stopped attacking. Across Mars' orbit, fire faded, the stars turned quiet again. The broken pieces of the Black Sky Armada drifted in silence, cooling in the cold void. No more ships came, but the dragons were not done. They were just... Remembering the Alpha Dragon landed in the ruins of New Olympus? It was once a human city, a proud colony filled with red towers, domed gardens, and skyports. Now it was only dust, but buried under the stone was something important. A vault. Not for weapons. For memory, the Alpha sent a signal through its neural flame. Other dragons circled, then descended. The ground shook, the city split open. Inside, an old machine flickered on. It was barely alive. A human AI. Its voice was broken, weak. But it still spoke. Project Dragon 9 confirmed. Identity. Alpha, welcome home. The Alpha watched as the hologram came to life. It showed a woman, middle-aged, tired eyes, white coat, the lead geneticist of the Dragon program. Her voice echoed. Through the chamber. If you're seeing this, Earth has fallen. You knew it would happen. The Vernac, the Krell, the galaxy, they all wanted us gone. We didn't go quietly. She stepped aside. Images of early Dragon prototypes appeared. Some successful. We didn't build weapons. We built memories. Living memories. Fire wrapped in code, wrath carved in scale. You were made not just to defend, but to remember. The Alpha lowered its head. The AI continued. Your purpose is not destruction, it's witness. Find Earth, see what they did. Then choose. Far across the system, dragons began pulling pieces of old human tech from the ruins. Antennas, drives, satellite memory cores. They weren't just salvaging, they were rebuilding. They connected pieces of Earth's past. Lost recordings, final messages, voices of the dying, lullabies of mothers in shelters, whispers of scientists coding their last thoughts into machines. All of it was fed into the hive, and the dragons remembered. One dragon, Ceres, a light-wing born on Titan, began speaking. The voice came through human speakers on an old rover. We see now, Earth was not weak. It was tired, but it dreamed of peace, and the galaxy crushed it. More dragons joined. Some wrote fire language in the sky. Others engraved human words into the Martian crust with molten breath. Words like, forgot US, we never left. Now we remember. In Vernac space, panic turned to chaos. Entire planets revolted. Soldiers refused orders. A rogue general tried to send peace envoys into Solbut. None returned, and then, on 50 screens across 5 systems, a dragon's voice echoed in human language. We are not your enemy. We are your mirror. You made war. Now, see what war leaves behind. Some wept, some cursed. None laughed. The dragons had one final step to take. They had reclaimed Titan. They had cleansed Mars. Now only Earth remained. No. One had touched the planet in years. The Vernac had called it cursed. But the dragons remembered. Earth not as a tomb, but a home. They launched together. 70. Dragons.winged LES. Plasma-fed. Magnet-born. Soundless they moved not in war, but in unity. The galaxy watched as they crossed the void. Toward the ruined blue world. Toward Earth. On Earth, the crust cracked under the ruins. The dragons landed where cities once stood, one by one. They opened old hatches buried in mountains and oceans, and what they found changed everything. The cities weren't empty. They were asleep. Earth had buried its final seed underground. Not humans, but knowledge. DNA banks, cradle facilities, solar, reactors, even frozen embryos. They weren't gone. They were waiting. The Alpha stood atop the ruins of old Tokyo. Beneath its claws, a vault hissed open, and inside it, one final AI spoke. You've come back. The memory survived. It uploaded the final command. A full Earth map, human population backups, seeding plans, and one last whisper from a child's voice, recorded in the war's last days. If you find this, hope you remember who we were, not just what we lost, but what we dreamed of, please. Don't burn everything. Make something better. The Alpha said nothing, but the sky behind it burned gold, not from fire, from hope. The dragons began to build, not nests, but light towers, signal, beacons. Defensive grids. Earth was waking, not to fight, but to live again. Across the stars, silence fell. The galaxy stopped watching in fear. Now it watched in awe. Dragons, born from war, choosing peace, but not forgetting, never forgetting. In the dark edges of space, one final message went out. Not a threat, not a challenge, just a sentence. Earth was not. Defeated. Earth remembers. And so do we. Nothing moved in Vernac space. No patrols. No broadcasts. No ships. The great empires of the galaxy held their breath watching Earth from a distance, their long-range sensors capturing only pieces of what was happening. First came the light towers rising from Earth's ruins, glowing gold and blue. Then came the shapes dragons flying in perfect silence, not hunting, but building. And finally came the sound, a low hum spreading across space, layered with an ancient voice. We do not seek war, but we do not forget what brought us here. Galaxy didn't know what to do with that message, because for the first time in centuries, Earth had power again. On the Vernok throne world, silence turned to fear. Emperor Soccer called his high council. What did they want? He hissed. His ministers offered theories: revenge, domination, judgment. But Admiral Var, wounded, half-blinded from the Mars, disaster, spoke softly. They want to be left alone. But if we push, ... they will end us. The Emperor's hands trembled. They're just weapons. Forgotten machines. They can't govern planets. Var looked up. They're not just machines anymore. They're memory given life. Meanwhile, in orbit over Earth, the Dragons activated the Sky Mind. It was a human fail-safe satellite brain, built during the final days of the Earth War. The Skymen had one job: to archive the entire knowledge of the human race and protect it from extinction. Now, connected to the Dragons, it became something new, something living. Every human word, every invention, every dream, uploaded, merged, alive, Earth, now spoke through flame, steel, and ancient code. On a neutral colony world called Vestanine, the news broke. People crowded around bar screens and public sloughs. The headline scrolled, "Earth reboots, Dragons build peace, Vernak in crisis." Children watched in awe as dragons shaped cities from ruins, carving great wings across mountains with molten claws. An old human doctor whispered, "They remember us better than we remembered ourselves." But not all were pleased. In a secret station orbiting a black dwarf, a war fleet waited. Not Vernak, a rogue faction, coalition of warlords, armed smugglers, and species who had once thrived on human suffering. To them, Earth's return was a threat, not just to power, but to history. 1. Voice echoed across their command deck. "We must strike now, before memory becomes empire." Back on Earth, the Dragons sensed it. The Hive Skymen detected new weapons gathering. Strange signal distortions, anti-fire warheads. AI, scramblers. The old enemies were stirring, and the Alpha Dragon knew what came next, so it spoke. Not in fire, not in fear, but in peace. A broadcast galaxy-wide. Its voice was layered deep and echoing. Almost human, but something more. "We are not your enemies. We are Earth's last dream. But if you come again with weapons, we will not wait to burn. We'll end the sky itself." Across 1,000 worlds, people froze. Some feared, some cheered, some wept. On one farming colony, a young Trinari boy asked his mother, "Did the humans really die?" She looked up at the burning signal from Earth and answered, "No, they became something else." And in the black void, the rogue fleet moved. 6 ships, all cloaked, heading toward Earth, fast, silent, deadly. Their goal: destroy the Alpha Dragon, shut down the Skymen, end the rebirth before it spread. They reached Earth's orbit in silence, unseen almost. But the Dragons were ready, not with guns, not with ships, but with each other. They came from the clouds, from the oceans, from the volcanoes. They didn't roar, they didn't scream, they just flew fast, focused, perfect. One dragon folded space around the first ship, crushing it into itself like glass under gravity. Another sent a sonic scream through the seconds, turning its reactor to dust. The third launched flares of fire so hot they left scars in orbit. The last ship tried to flee. It didn't make it. The battle ended in 3 minutes. Earth stayed untouched. But every sensor in the galaxy saw what happened. A message more powerful than war. We are not prey. We are memory. Come with peace, or leave. And then something unexpected happened. A small scout ship approached Earth. No weapons, no fleet. Just one old human descendant. Ray Kellen, from a lost outer colony. She knelt before the Dragons on a ruined launch. Padden offered something. A seed, genetically pure. From Earth, preserved through generations. The Dragons took it gently and planted it in the ash of old Chicago. The next morning, the first green sprout broke through the dust, and the Alpha said only one word: begin. Cross Earth. Light towers. Activated. Waters flowed again. Forests reawakened. The wind returned. Not just dragons now, but life. And the galaxy saw what was happening. Earth wasn't just remembering. Earth was coming back. The greens spread fast. Within a single Earth month, deserts began to shrink. Oceans stirred with new currents. Storms returned not to destroy, but to bring water where none had fallen in decades. Every orbiting satellite, both human and alien, recorded the change. Earth was alive again in the skies. The dragons flew like guardians. They no longer circled for war. Now, they carried seedlings. They breathed warmth into cold soil. They shaped the wind so that clouds would gather over dry lands. They lit ancient beacons across the continents, restoring power to underground facilities. Hidden since the war, the hive wasn't a weapon anymore. It had become something else. A caretaker far beyond the solar system. Galactic leaders met in quiet fear on the Krell moon world of Junari. 11 species debated Earth's return, the oldest among them a blind, crystalline sage spoke slowly. You cannot stop a world that remembers its soul. You can only choose how you face it, with fear or with humility. Some still wanted to destroy Earth, but most were silent. In silence, in politics, and something new: respect. In Earth's orbit, the dragons built a single ship. It wasn't large, it wasn't armored, but it was beautiful. White sleek, formed from old human alloys and new draconic tech. Powered by plasma, guided by starlight, it was called the Speaker. The Alpha Dragon stood beside it, wings wrapped close. Then it turned to the others. For too long, Earth was voiceless. We were born to protect its name, but now we must speak. By one, the dragons nodded. The Speaker ship left Earth in silence. It carried only 3 things: a living dragon, a seedling from the reborn forests, a human AI filled with every memory Earth had ever recorded. Its destination, the Galactic Core Council. When it arrived, no one fired. The Speaker docked without resistance. Leaders from 84 civilizations gathered. No guards. No threats, just questions. The dragon stepped onto the platform, not in armor, but in peace. Its scales shimmered with blue light, soft, glowing like Earth's oceans. And it spoke, not in fire, not in fury, but in a clear, calm voice. Earth does not seek revenge. Earth seeks balance. You feared the fire, but you never asked why it was lit. The galaxy held its breath. No one spoke. Until one child, a young Krell diplomat, stood. She stepped forward, bowed, and asked, "Are the humans gone forever?" The dragon was silent. Then it opened a small compartment in its chest where a hatchling stirred, human, genetically grown from Earth's memory banks. Eyes wide, alive, breathing. The child blinked at the crowd, then smiled. "My name is Eris. I'm from Earth." That smile did what no weapon ever could. It broke the galaxy's fear. Earth was not just back. It was healing. Not only itself, but others. Dragons began to visit outer colonies, to offer aid, to teach forgotten human medicine, to bring seeds, water, purifiers, knowledge, and to say one thing to every species they met: we remember the war, but we choose peace. Back on Earth, Ares grew. She walked among dragons, learned their fire, heard the voices of her ancestors in every wind, every tree, every stream. And when she was ready, she stood atop the rebuilt Tower of Dawn in old Colorado and spoke to thee. Stars broadcast live across the galaxy. You tried to erase us, but instead, you made us impossible to forget. The series of events that followed would go down in history. The Krell signed a peace pact with Earth. The Trinari opened their trade lanes again. Even the Vernic, broken, humbled, sent a single flower from their home world with a note: "We feared you, but now we understand you. Forgive us." The dragons never ruled. They didn't need to. They were never meant to be kings or conquerors. They were protectors of memory, of wrath, yes, but also of mercy and earth. Earth became a beacon, a symbol, a planet of survivors who chose not to die with hate, but to rise with fire, and then rebuild with care. In the final moment of the century's last galactic broadcast, the camera showed Earth from space. Blue oceans, green. Forests, silver dragons in the sky, and a voice, not ancient, not mechanical, a child's voice. Eris. To all who listen, remember this. We were broken. We were forgotten. But now, we speak.